All right. My brother Kevin, Kevin
Yeah.
Jenkins. How important is it for us to have our own media during these times right here?
Well, one of the things I wanted to say to you is thank you for inviting us on the show. I think Black media is so critically important right now. And your show, I mean, as this thing continues to unfold, we should be on your show as much as possible, giving the right information. I think Curtis did an exceptional job of explaining at a certain level of where we are right now. But as a Black community, we're at the tipping point because of our vast understanding of, our history in this country, not having full citizenship in this country, not being able to navigate ourselves to greater opportunities. When we've been discussing the great racial wealth gap that we've been discussing for the last several years, where we talk about, the medical apartheid that's been engaged against us for all of these years. When we reflect on 1619, we've all been reflective about our role in this country, how patriotic we are, how we came into this country and built this country. For us to be at this point, and for Black American electeds not to understand the critical stage we are in, and for them to be playing a role in helping Big Pharma to control our bodies, to control our lives, to control where we eat, control where we go to school, control how we live in our homes, is devastating. And Black Americans will never survive this. And I'm very surprised. Well, that's not true. I'm not surprised that as Black Americans, we don't understand this and we're not doing a deeper dive on what's being sold to us. So when you turn on your TV in the evening and you see Big Pharma News, they tell you one thing: millions of people are dying. But when you dig deeper when you do further analysis, you know that's not true. When you dig deeper, you know that they're coding all of us dying from COVID. We know that's not true. We understand that. And it's really interesting that Black Americans now and electeds all around this country that represent our Black space are not lending their Black voice to the truth. So when you talk about what we're going to look like in the future, it is pretty scary that Black Americans are ready to comply. Not all of us, but as a voice, as a big group, as a group that represents this country and represents the thriving prosperity of this country and represent America, we are losing out because we're not telling our people the truth. And I'm very concerned about that. That is critical. We need to dive down. We need to stop listening to Big Pharma. We need to challenge these Black American electeds. We need to look for the truth, because if not, we're going to be destroying the future of our children. That's what I'm saying. Forget about you. Forget about me. It's about our children. The limited freedom that we do have, I still want to keep. I still want to fight for full citizenship. I still want to push back on the system. And I'm telling you right now, if we don't get our act together, in 3 more weeks, we will be surveillanced. In 3 more weeks, we'll be locked in our homes. In 3 more weeks, even the prosperity that we've been fighting for will be wiped off the map. And anybody that is on TV or in these talk shows that's wholesaling fear, right? Wholesaling this missed data, they're doing you a great. I can't hear you.
Let me say this real quick to the family that's in the chat room.
Yes.
Sources, you don't need sources for everything, family. I see y'all, where your sources at? Where your sources at? See, you getting caught up into the European mindset all the time. You don't, sometimes things is, you can just talk about certain things in the situations. You don't always need sources. Sources is just the next man's opinion. Really,
well,
when you look at that, but hold up. But when you're asking the brother for sources. The brother is coming here giving you information on something about us and about our people. You don't always need sources. How come when we watching the white man's media or we sitting back watching the news, you don't hear nobody say, "Where's your sources at? Where's your sources at?" You sit back, you listen to it, you eat it up, and then what do you do with it? You come back and feed it to us, knowing that they didn't show you no sources. So we got to get out of that, man. Sources is not always good for everything. Go ahead, Brother Kevin, real quick before I move over to
our family members in the hospital. Black people need to get a little bit more sophisticated and stop running into a burning building without having the right information. And I don't want to offend anyone, but we got to get smarter. This is about your constitutional rights, whatever constitutional rights we had. But guess what? We've been fighting for our full citizenship for our life. Now they're going to take whatever you have and they're going to control your bodies. They're going to control your children. They're going to control your life. They are now going to put you on a surveillance program and contact trace you and then test you for antibodies. And if you don't have the right information, they can trap you in your house. I don't know how difficult that is. I don't know why you're all so confused about it. I don't know why you're having this weak intellectual debate about it. It is a fact. Okay, so now here we are right now. All of your elected officials are basically lying to you. All of the information you're seeing on TV right now is false. Why wouldn't you want to know the truth? Why wouldn't you want to dig deeper? 3 more weeks from now, if you don't start to understand this, they're going to own you. And guess what? For Black Americans, while we're reflecting on 1619, reflecting on our Black experience in this country, for them not to be concerned, shame on you. Shame on us. Shame on us. And guess what?
Powerful, brother Kevin. Powerful, brother Kevin, because I was on here for like 2 weeks saying similar the same thing, but the way you articulate it and put it in perspective, they was just beating me up. And I kept saying, since when we started believing in this government, when you study the history of our people, when you study the history of this government, since when they have ever came truthful to us to tell us everything? Come on, brother.
Well, I think one of the things that's so frightening to me is that we don't have a baseline of understanding of our history. So just look at Jim Crow, right? Let's look at Jim Crow. Jim Crow was built on, right, what? A science. We were 1/5 of a man. We had no control of our bodies. We were experimented on. So they created public policy to do that. So for Black Americans to fall in line and to comply, you know, shame on you. I'm sorry. I'm pro-Black. I'm a Black nationalist, but I dig deeper into these issues because it concerns me that Black Americans are not playing a more active role. So when you talk about vaccines, when you talk about our freedom, when you talk about our children, when you talk about our humanity, for us to sit silently and not understand what this is about, we only have ourselves to blame. We cannot blame anyone. And all of this psychobabble and this intellectual dishonesty about sources, I'll give you 1 billion sources that are factual. And you know what they'll say? You know what our community will say? Well, that's conspiratorial. We all know that every year we have thousands of homicides, thousands of people that are dying of cardiac arrest, thousands of people are dying from all kinds of diseases in this country. And you're right, we never hear that. But the thing that I'm paying attention to now,
it's actually millions of people that died, millions.
Right, absolutely. And no government has ever been shut down, nothing. But the thing that I'm paying attention to now is how easy it has been for us to comply and how, you know, how easy it is. Look, I have some people that I really respect, and they are now on their Facebook and social media pages talking about stay in and stay safe. So they're marketing what Big Pharma is selling us to take our rights away from us. They're actually helping the government to take our rights from us. They're actually helping the government to rip and take control over our bodies and take control over our children. So now I see celebrities out there promoting the World Health Organization. We should support that. They know nothing about the World Health Organization. Right,
that's true.
They know nothing about the National Institute of Health. They know nothing about Fauci. They know nothing about what Bill Gates has been doing in Africa, all around the world. They have no idea what he's been financing, that he owns all of those agencies and he's funded and he's been experimenting on us for decades. They know nothing about Fauci and what he did during the AIDS epidemic and the rules that he broke and the damage that has caused our communities. But the thing that I'm really concerned about is now Black Americans are the face of COVID. Now, let me give you a little snapshot of that. Let me give you the snapshot. Last week, all of the elected officials around the country was Black elected saying, we have to count how many Black Americans are dying of COVID. That is I thought that was the most ridiculous, I thought it was ridiculous waste of time. Not about our constitutional rights being stolen away from us, not about us losing our economic footing, which we have none at all, but they allow them to make COVID the face of Black America. Now, what does that mean? In Black America right now, in my neighborhood, they're using drones. Black mayors are using the same language that the oppressor used on us for 400 years. Black elected officials are using the police against us, using the government against us, and helping Big Pharma, Bill Gates, Fauci, and all of those. And I want to get to that. I'm going to say right there. But they are now using the same language that our oppressor used. They can't convince me otherwise. They have people in our neighborhoods accosting Black kids because they're not staying in the house, because they can't stay in the house. Okay, they got to get out. They need to be out. They need to be communicating. It is un-American, and it has an impact on Black people because social distancing is what? It is not a normal place for us. We need to be together. We need to be communicating. We need to be talking to each other. So now, guess what? You have Black Americans saying we should socially distance. You have Black Americans using the police and using government to sequester our voice. That's what we're doing now. We're participating. We're advancing their strategy. And they knew it. Because they knew it. So we're at 0 now. We're going to be below 0. So we're bottom cast now, but we're going to be below that. And I cannot believe Black Americans are standing around, sitting around, befuddled about what's going on. It's real simple. They want to control your body. They want to control your voice. They want to control your movement, and they want to cut you out of everything on this planet. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on with our people that they don't understand, is that they are confused, that they are befuddled, that they are like, how is this happening? It's happening right in front of you. So for 3 weeks, you've been locked in your house. So if you don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be a genius. Do you know that if you were outside getting vitamin D, vitamin C, and the virus was spreading, we would all have the antibodies to move on, all of that. But I just want to get back to WHO for 1 second, World Health Organization. The World Health Organization is owned by Bill Gates. He owns all of them. He owns all of those institutions. He's been working on this for years. His father was the head of Planned Parenthood. And if you know anything about Planned Parenthood and eugenics, you know this is a part of their motto, depopulating the world. But I got one thing that I find very interesting, because I see these celebrities running around here signing their name on fighting and pushing back about who losing its funding. Who should be shut down? The World Health Organization is a criminal organization. And the guy that's running it, are you sitting down, son? The guy that's running it is the guy that participated in a genocide in Ethiopia. He was put there by Fauci. Okay? So they don't even know who the guy is. But they're all signing their names on something that has been participating in the destruction of Africans around this world forever. Forever. They don't even know. They're signing their names. They're promoting the World Health Organization. They're promoting the CDC. All of those organizations, right? They are privately managed and funded by the wealthiest people in the world. And their whole focus is the population, right, of our people across the globe, right, and controlling our bodies. Now, it doesn't take a genius to go and read that and try to figure that out. But Black people, Latino people, people of color, they're listening to Big Pharma TV give them credibility. The guy that is the head of the World Health Organization is a war criminal. He killed his people. And Black people are signing their name to that organization. And their practice is to annihilate us. And I'm dumbfounded by it, actually. But I want to say something to my people. You know, I'm not being cynical, and I'm not being rude, and I'm not being disrespectful. And one of the things that, I'm not going to allow myself to do is to be sequestered by political correctness and by a body politic that don't have my people's best interests. And I'm telling you, all of you at home, you're now being snookered. You're now being taken advantage of. You're now being socially engineered to disconnect from humanity. You're now being robbed of your human rights. You're now turning over your children to Big Pharma. You are now turning over your children to the oligarchs. And you are not fulfilling the prophecy that so many of the people that came before me and came before all of us that have worked so tirelessly to give us the understanding that it is a right to be free, to give us the understanding is a right to stand on truth, and to fight to the end to make sure that we protect our children and our families. And I'm very, very heartbroken that people that I think that are fairly intelligent is allowing these people to sell this bag of garbage to rip their humanity away from them. And I'm disappointed. And I'm telling you, anybody that's out there that's selling, stay in a house, be safe, and modeling these masks and putting these masks on, you are a danger because of your lack of understanding, and you are a danger to our community because you're not seeking the truth. Now, you took the truth. Now, you can be offended by that, and I want you to. And I want you to be offended so you can go out and seek the truth so you can empower yourself. And I love all of you, but we got to start getting a little, we got to be real with each other. And thank you very much for the time, and we're going to share the information for you.
Same thing in Italy, and same thing in the United States. They were giving these people, I believe she said it was H1N1, which contains squalene, to the elderly. Now that caused me to flip out because I know about squalene. I gave lectures on it 10 years ago when they had the big H1N1 scare. Squalene is a naturally occurring oil in the body. It's part of the immune system. But when they inject it into your body, the body doesn't recognize it, and it actually turns on it and causes the whole immune system to turn on itself. Many people have argued that the Gulf War syndrome was really the result of those soldiers being given experimental vaccines that contain squalene. So if they've been giving squalene to these old people in America, Italy, China, other places, well, of course you're gonna have a lot of deaths. That stuff is poison. Anybody do a Google search on squalene and what it does to the body, you'll find out for yourself. Now, I haven't confirmed it, but I know this person, the caliber of this person who does research, and I've been busy, but I'm going to go into looking into that. Myself, whenever they say a virus, the first thing I want to do is look at another source. I will look what vaccines people are given, what pesticides people have been exposed to, other things other than the virus. I mean, you don't have to agree with it. You can do your own research, draw your own conclusions, but that's what I look for. And every time that I've looked for an alternative, I've always been able to come up with something else other than a virus. So if they're putting squalene in the vaccines, they're poisoning them. And even if they don't put squalene, they got so many other toxins inside the vaccines. Whatever they've been giving elderly people prior to this outbreak, I'm sure it contributed to their demise.
In my life, other than when the United States is at war, other than when we're at war, we never give daily death counts. Never, ever, never. So we never give the daily death count of the flu, of diabetes, of cancer, of car accidents, right? And the list can go on and on and on. But all of a sudden, every single day, and listen, I'm in Hartford. I bet if I looked at the newspapers in your cities, on the front of the newspaper, every day is going to say COVID-19. Every day is going to talk about death tolls. So what is that doing? Now, if nothing else, this is not conspiracy theory, that's brainwashing. You know, I don't know if you ever heard the story about the guy who was in the middle of the ocean and he was drowning and he said, God, come help me, come help me. And he's just swimming out there and he's drowning and drowning. And so God sent, you know, a helicopter and the helicopter, people in the helicopter let down the line to bring the dude up. And he said, no, I'm waiting for God to do this. And then God sent a big boat, you know, big giant boat to come and rescue him. And he told the captain of the ship, no,
okay,
I'm waiting for God.
Our rescue at the end.
So our rescue is in this right here. This is our rescue. When we start listening to what we hear, trusting one another and asking questions and making demands. That's our rescue. We some unwise folks for listening to a government that took over our government 450 years ago in the mid-Atlantic slave trade. That's how we got here, by listening to a government. So the problem that I have is that there's just too few pastors out there that, you know, when the guy even talked about Christianity, as much as I love this faith and I believe in it, I get what he's saying. I get where he's coming from when he says that it's something that has been such a farce for so many people of color, because people of color get into the faith and they lose themselves. They don't find God as much as they find a way out that doesn't have anything to do with rescuing our people, because we're looking like punks, man. We're looking like weak people, not because we're ignorant, but we're ignorant of what we say we believe. We go out there and tell people that Jesus Christ is healer. Isn't this the right time for Jesus Christ to heal? We look like a bunch of freaking hypocrites, because if he's healer, let him heal COVID-19. And if he's not healer, then that means that Jesus Christ is a fraud. He's a bunch of dummies for believing him. He's either real or he's not real. If he's real, then let him show up and show himself strong. If he ain't real, then we all give back our licenses and our fake ordination papers, because this is just a big hoax.
Well, can I say something? And I got to go. Let me just say something to you.
All right.
Remember this word, contact tracing. Microsoft and Google now will be monitoring everything you do. Vaccines, they will be putting in a technology chip to track you. They will now be coming to your house if they suggest that if you are sick or if you have a fever or if you're not, they will come to your house and lock you up and lock you in your house. If that's how you want to live, go someplace else. Don't ask me to join in. I want everybody to start to fight and push back and ask questions, and don't be fearful of that. And don't let them tell you if you ask questions, you're being insensitive. That's the oldest trick in the book.
Right.
That's the oldest trick in the book. And I want to send a shout out to all of those parents that have been fighting for 15 years, and people were saying that they were crazy. They were right.
Look at that.
They were 100% right.
Look
and
at
I'm standing with those parents. I'm standing with all of them. I don't care what your race is. I'm standing with you. And I'm going to be there with you. And our institution that we've developed has been developed just for that. And God bless all of you.
All right. Thank you, my brothers. I can't wait to bring y'all back on the panel. I appreciate y'all for taking the time out to talk to our audience. Peace and Black Power, family. We out of here. Thank you, my brothers.
Thank you, sir.